John, at what point, Sam asks, would you say a side hustle has viability? $1,000 a week, a certain number of sales, et cetera, et cetera. What are things to measure? So what are you telling Sam about their side hustle?
Well, first of all, it takes a bit of courage, doesn't it, to get a side hustle up and running? And I think a lot of us want to sort of dip our toes in the water without going full noise, let's run a business and quit our day job. I think I would look at it and say it's maybe got three levels. There's a level that says I'm earning enough money to run to cover the running costs of the business. Right now, depending on the type of business that is, as to how much that is. So yeah, maybe a certain number of sales, but it's got to cover the cost of doing things. Then you might get to that stage where it starts to give you some sort of income, as in over and above the running costs of the business. Again, putting a number on that is hard. It's very personal, but just going and targeting a figure there. And then the third one is really, well, hang on a minute. This has got real legs. I'm going to quit my day job and this is actually what I do for a living. So that's the sky's the limit, would be my thoughts on those, on how I'd approach it. But what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think number one, when you are asking questions like this in our Facebook group or you asking other people, you just can't pin it to a number because it's relative to your situation. But by all means, I think you've basically said it all, and I would just encourage Sam, about the viability. At what point would you say the side hustle has viability? What are you talking in terms of viability? Are you saying for me to keep doing this or for me to stop doing this and transition and do it full-time as my job?
Yeah.
And that just comes back to, well, if you're doing $1,000 a week, is that in top-line sales? And if that's the case, gosh, take some expenses off there. It's probably not viable for most people unless you live on a farm in the hills, you've got no rent, and you only need $500 a week to live off.
Running costs alone.
But that's all good, but it's not if it's a seasonal thing and you sell $1,000 a week with Christmas trinkets in December.
Yeah.
So I think I would just encourage Sam to step back, run the numbers to really see how much it costs, or more so how much you need to sell each week, and just work backwards. And I would start working backwards by, if you have an income, I'll make a number up, $80,000 at the moment in your own life, well, let's try and have the target of taking $80,000 a year. Let's have that as the baseline. Then let's add some of the costs.
Yeah. So
maybe we're projecting in this business, if we needed, we don't know what the business is, but assume it's 150 grand that we need to turn over to cover costs, divided by 52, that's just under 3 grand, 2,800 a week. But I think there is an important thing to note. You mentioned it in your third thing. Does this thing have legs? So it might not right now because you don't have the time to put into it.
No, and that's one question I was going to ask you is, how much is it passion and interest versus I want to make as much money as I can? Because a lot of these side hustles are passion driven, aren't they? I've got an interest in it, whilst others are really focused on, okay, I've seen a real opportunity here to make as much money as I can out of this.
Well, I think the making as much money as I can out of it isn't a good metric either.
No.
Because there's a lot of people that make good money and hate their job.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of, well, if it's something I want to do I like doing it? So at the moment, like my podcast was a hobby when I was in financial advice.
Yeah.
It was my outlet, playing around with the tech and all that. Then I'm like, I'm making a little bit of money from this.
Yeah.
I'm going to now, for me, it was viable because I saw the signs of life.
Yeah.
But the jump between your current thing and some viability that you may see or some signs of life, that jump there is basically the risk leap.
Yeah.
And there's no
Courageous.
really good outcomes in this life unless you don't take some type of risk.
Well, you don't want to look back on it with regret and say, I should have pursued that.
No. But then when I quit the advice business and went full time into the podcast, it started really doing better because I had the time. And unfortunately, I didn't have a hobby anymore. It was my full-time thing. And
Yeah, no choice.
We're recording on a Monday right now. Over the weekend, I was in here both days. I probably spent 4 hours in this room playing around with cameras and microphones and lights because that's a little bit of a hobby for me.
Yeah.
And I still like that tech side of it. So I don't know. I think Sam, just really work backwards and understand that you will have to take a risk, and that's pressing go at some point. And we don't want to do that right away. We do want to see some trends and, signs of life.
Yeah.
If you're selling Christmas trinkets or whatever and it's seasonal, maybe not viable, but we don't also know what the viability means in this little bit.
Good luck, Sam.
Hey, it's Glen here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.